يا عباد الله هبوا ونداء الحق لبوا فاعبدوه مخلصين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, dear viewers. It's exciting to welcome you to another episode of Stories of Devotion, a program that hosts missionaries of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community to share with us inspiring stories of their devotion in the service of God, Islam, and humanity. And with me on the show today is a missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria who has been in service in the country for many decades. He is Taoheed Olaosebikan Shoboyede. Missionary Sayyid, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
It's pleasing to host you on the show today, sir.
Jazakumullah.
MashaAllah. Let us begin by asking you to introduce yourself, your background, and what you may like to share.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. I am Taoheed Olaosebikan Shoboyede. If I have to give a brief of my background, I am first of 11 children of a family of 2 wives. And I happened to find myself in Ahmadiyya miraculously, because I cannot say I joined Ahmadiyya. I just miraculously find myself in Ahmadiyya in the late 1963. Just a little, maybe a few days after completing my primary school education. Previous to this time, neither myself nor my parents had heard anything about Ahmadiyya. So we were saved the problem of having formed an opinion, because we never had it. And of course, my father was one of those local alphas, just a mu'alim.
Yeah, somebody who has
Somebody
some
who has
level of knowledge
about Islam. At least who could, is one of Ahmadi Salat in a very, very remote village. When we left that village we moved to another village, which was not too far from where I was born. We saw a school named Nawaruddin. And my father now agreed to send me to that Nawaruddin school. That was where I had my primary education.
Is that your completion of your primary?
Yes, school? I had the opportunity of completing early because at that time you couldn't start primary school until your fingers goes across your head like to touch your ear. So I tried, I jumped, I limped, it couldn't touch. So, but because there were no children to go to school, they were begging parents to bring their children to school. They said, okay, let us manage him. And that was why I was admitted then. So I heard about Ahmadiyya for the first time when my father said, okay, go and learn a trade. And he took me from that village. The village was, where I was born was called Agbedi, but where I had my primary school was Atonta, also in Ogun State. That was the primary school I attended. He now said, okay, go and learn a trade. He now took me from Atonta to Ibadan.
To learn a trade?
To learn a trade. I was to learn plumbing. He now took me to Mokola in Ibadan, one of his friends there. But my father was such that he was too keen about going for family members, looking after family members. He now remembered that he had an in-law who married one of his nephews. This man was Surajuddin Salman. He was the immediate younger brother to Alhaji Misbauddin Salman of Ilaro. So he said, I will not leave Ibadan without seeing Suraju. So he left me in Mokola by around 4 o'clock p.m. He went to Idikon. So when he got there, the man said, why are you in Ibadan? He said, I brought Taoheed. You brought Taoheed to Ibadan, you put it where? In Mokola. Then he took my father in his car. He was a driver to Alhaji Busari. So he said, we will bring him back. That very evening, they came to Mokola to bring me back to Jikon. I still didn't know I was in the midst of Ahmadis. I still didn't know until the following morning when we were going to the mosque. That was the first time I had anything about Ahmadiyya in my life. I now saw that everybody was folding arms. I saw myself as a lone ranger, not folding arms. I now saw myself. I couldn't understand. My father had already left. I think since then, I was so lucky that I found myself within the very active, old, knowledgeable members of Ahmadiyya, and that was how I started.
So that was during your teenage
Yes,
age.
I was just 12. I was just 12. And I had one privilege that Almighty Allah blessed me with. In my primary school, I was very brilliant. I was very, very brilliant. And I had been too passionate about reading. So around 1965, I got an address of Rabwa, the Jamaat in Rabwa. I started writing to Rabwa. Since then, they've been sending me books, Quran, and today I can boldly say there's hardly any of the books of the Jamaat written in English that I have not read.
So from this, coming from this background, at what level did you decide to dedicate your life, and what inspired that decision?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I can just summarize that I am one of the great miracles wrought by Asati Muhammad alayhi salam. I cannot deny that. In 1977, I was already working because I finished my training as a plumber in 1969, and I started working I was on my own. And in fact, I rose from grass to grace by last days. I rose up to supervisor in a very big organization. 1977, and I decided, I think I would not want to be eroded away by the flood of worldliness. I wanted to dedicate myself. At that time, missionaries were being paid about 30 kobo, 3 shillings. So I said, even if they pay me 1 and 6, that's half of the 30 shillings. If they pay me 1 and 6, I think I will be okay. I will find my way to feed myself and everything. At that time, I started making efforts. The then Amir, Maulana Muhammad Ajmal Shahid.
Quickly, what impressed you or inspired to take that decision that you want to dedicate your life, even if you were paid?
I met people like Afa JJ Bada. I met people like Paul Lua. I met people like Afa SD Ahmad. Later, when we moved from Idikon, when the Jama moved from Idikon to where it is now at Okeado, people like Ustaz Tola Karim, Raji, they met me there. So I saw them, I was envious of them. If people like this, but I had only promises, but Amir didn't know because he felt I had more certificate like that because if I spoke English, you think I was a graduate. And I also had my passion for writing was very, 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 very hot. Of course, I started writing for newspapers maybe late 70s, writing stories, writing different letters and things like that for publication, for most of which I still have up to today. So the Amir now felt, yes, it's okay. He wanted to send me along with the team going to Ghana then. That was 1977. I think that was when Murphy Hashim Sab, his team, that was when they went to Ghana. But at that time, a teacher was needed in one of our schools at Aigulegbede. I mean, I felt, no, you will not go to Ghana. You go and teach. So
you've dedicated yourself that time.
I plan to dedicate myself.
Okay.
And he said I could not do Ghana. Rather, I should go for teaching. So After the team had gone to Ghana,
to Jamia in
to
Ghana.
Jamia in Ghana, I was to be sent to Yegunle Egbede. We now discovered that the least qualification required for any teacher to go to Yegunle Egbede was school cert, which I didn't have. So I was after, so Alhamdulillah, Malan my child is still alive today. In fact, we speak almost every day. He's 95 now, by the grace of God. So he said, this is unfortunate. So I could neither go to Ghana or go to Egulegbede. I had to go back to my work. But I started working at the headquarters as work philarisi since that time. I didn't go. I continued working until I was there at the mission house serving the Jamaat. I would go for little work in the morning, come back in the afternoon, just to feed myself. And that was how I continued until, I think, 1981. A missionary was needed in Mushin. They applied to a mission. I had not been confirmed a missionary. Yes. In fact, it was almost forgotten that I was not a missionary. When Amin now said, that was in 1981, Amin now said I should go to Mushin.
As a missionary for
Mushin
Jamaat.
Yes, I started serving. It was there I was when I gained admission to go and read, to go and pursue my NCE, National Certificate of Education. So, because the College of Education was at Ijanike, I now said I should be serving in Badagry. I had not been confirmed a missionary, but I've been serving. So it had been that interesting for me that I didn't even bother whether I was being paid or I was not being paid, or that I was not bothered. I was very happy that I was being sent out to serve the Jamaat, wherever, and that is up to today, wherever I had served, and I go there now. The honor, the reception I received are so marvelous.
Mashallah. So you were now at Badagry as their serving missionary there, and
while
also
I was in
pursuing your
So
education.
When I finished, immediately I finished. Now, I already gained employment with Lagos State as a teacher in 1979. Just so that I could be close to headquarters. I was on Lagos Island. I was, in fact, I also taught in one of the Jamaat schools, first primary school, this thing, Suno, Lagos Island, which was under the government. So after that, I was transferred to another place, but I was staying in the mission house. So that I was serving, I was the translator for all their mails after ND Ahmad Sahib. After ND, I've been serving as translator every morning. Every morning that I was the translator. I was there. So when in 1986, I completed, in 1986, immediately I completed, I was to go back to the state employment, because I was on study leave. So after completing, I was to go back there. But immediately I got to the mission house. It was Malano Eme Kureish that was the acting Amir then. Now said, Uzura has approved that I should go to Jamia, to go and teach in Jamia. And that was how I got to Jamia. I started working in the office in 1986. But by January 1987, I was sent to Jamia to go and teach. And I was there until 1991, thereabout. Although I was sent there again, second time, in 2003. So I taught in Jamia at least for 7.5 years. And alhamdulillah, there is hardly any department of Jamaat which I have not served.
Mission Sahib, now let us look at the offices, the various places where you have served as a missionary, and also the challenges you have faced over the years in the course of your service of Allah and humanity, and most importantly, how you overcome those challenges.
Alhamdulillah, to God be the glory. Since 1981, I've been serving on the Truth newspaper, either as columnist or
the Truth newspaper is established by, is owned by the Jamaat.
Yeah, it's owned by the Jamaat, established by the third American missionary in charge, Maulana Nasim Saifi of blessed memory. And especially when we were learning printing, we were always working on the truth. So since 1981, I've been producing the truth. And for over 15 years or thereabout, I produced the truth single-handedly. Even while I was in Jamia, I still continued to produce the truth
For the Jamaat.
for the Jamaat, and everything was going on well. How I became a journalist also is another very interesting thing. After completing my NCE, I saw an advert for a qualified candidate to go for journalism, and I applied to the Jamaat. The Jamaat sponsored me, and I went for journalism 18 months, and I had my diploma in journalism, and I came out. In fact, I served in Daily Times. I was a reporter for Evening Times, and Lagos Weekend for some times while on training. And after that, I also felt okay. I wanted to read law, and I made all efforts. Allah did not allow it. And my position with Allah is that anything I struggle for and I was not able to get, I always see it as acceptance of prayer, because my prayer is anything I will achieve, the blessings of which will come to me more than it goes to the Jamaat. Allah should not grant me. Anything that Allah will grant me, the benefits should be more to the Jamaat, to myself. So if I struggle for anything I didn't get it, I said, well, it will not benefit the Jamaat. Not that it will not benefit me. So I always see it as so I went for my degree in education. After the NC, I went for my degree.
What year was that?
That was between 1990 and 1995.
That was after your service in a Jamia?
After the first time.
Yeah,
after my first time in Jamia, I went for my degree.
So when were you eventually,
yes,
your dedication was approved?
Yes, I continued to write. I continued to write from Amiri to Amiri, from Amiri to Amiri, I continued to write. Eventually, 2005, after Hadvat Masih Al-Hamis, Aziz, he visited first in 2004.
He visited Nigeria.
He visited Nigeria in 2004. 2005, the then Amir, now Professor Mashood Adenile Fashola, received that letter that Uzura had appointed me a central missionary. It was maybe that I don't know whether to say that was my happiest day in life. I cannot say, because there were other days that I would maybe want to narrate. But since that time, because I was just shedding tears that I am fulfilled.
Tears of self-realization.
Yes, I said today I'm fulfilled. If I die today, I think I'm fulfilled.
You felt you are fulfilled by virtue of your appointment of as a central missionary, which
I have been yearning for years, and it just came just like that. It was a dream come true. It was a dream come true, and since then, I have. And that's why I always tell people that, look, I have dedicated my 24 hours. If I spend 2 minutes out of it to do other things to get money, it's stealing.
That's when 2005, when the approval came from Azad Khatfatumasi as a central missionary, appointed as central missionary. Where were you serving?
I was in the office as the Assistant General Secretary
of the Jamaat.
Yes, at first I was the Administrative Secretary. Later, I became the Additional General Secretary too, when the position of Administrative Secretary was scrapped. So I became the Additional General Secretary too. After that, Alhaji Ali Shola Yusuf retired.
And so you've also mentioned that initially you've served in Jamia 2 times. So
yes.
When was the
2003. I was sent by the then Amir Alhaji Mahmoud Meshanu, sent me to Jamia again, and by December 2004, when Professor Mashood Adenile Fashola became the Amir in August, he brought me back to the headquarters. So I was again at the headquarters.
So you were at the headquarters serving the Jamaat when the appointment came?
Yes, I was at headquarters. I was only posted to the field in April 2015.
Mashallah. So you've been in
I've been
in the headquarters of the Jamaat,
I
serving in
served
various
everywhere.
roles.
I served even in the accounts. I served in the accounts. I had so many offices. I was elected the first and only secretary Sarsala. I was elected secretary Wasia. I was elected secretary Jadid. I was elected secretary Tarivia.
Mashallah.
So
that is at the national
at
level.
the national level, I was a member of Amela for all those periods, with, almost 15 to 18 years.
Yes, if you could tell us one or two instances of challenges you have faced in the course of your service, and how you overcome them successfully.
Challenges are part of human nature. I always tell people that the greatest problem we have is that we never prepare for problem. So anybody who doesn't prepare for problem will have problems, because problems or challenges will come. So if you don't prepare for it, you'll be caught unaware. But for me, I have one thing from Alhaji Busari. May Allah continue to have mercy on him. He said, if you want the best, prepare for the worst. So anything I dabbled into, I'm always prepared for the worst. So when the challenges come, I face it on headlong, because I believe nobody solves any problem by running away from it. You solve problem by facing it headlong.
If you could share maybe one instance of, for
instance,
example,
let me
maybe
just share this one.
tabligh.
It may sound funny. When I was to be admitted into college of education, I didn't attend secondary school in my life. I only sat down, read at home, and wrote my GCE. I didn't know the difference between English language and English literature. So
English language and English literature.
I didn't know the difference. So when I was admitted to read English and religious studies, at the 200 level, it's a 3-year course. At the 200 level, they now said anybody who was admitted without English literature to read English should withdraw. I said I was not going to withdraw, because my agreement with God before he granted me this admission was I was going to spend 3 years and nothing more and nothing less. I was not going to. They said anybody who was not going to withdraw should change course. I said I will not do that. Then I continued praying. I continued praying. At the end of the day, the governor then, a military governor, came to the school because the school had some problems. After solving the problem, he now said, hey, yes, lest I forget, I learned some students had deficiencies in admission requirements, and some of them have been asked to withdraw, some of them, but I want to, because I also have my own children in an institution, let's grant them 1 year to go and write the papers in which they had deficiencies. So that was
how Allah accepted your prayer.
I just went straight to write only literature at GC.
Could you share with us, personal experiences of a relationship and the blessings from, being with the Khalifa,
yes,
under the Khalifa?
Alhamdulillah, I had that privilege that all the visits, 5 visits of the Khulafa in Nigeria, I had the privilege of being part and parcel of everything. For 1970, maybe I was young, but in 1980, when the third Khalifa came back, I was one of the leaders of the Hudam. So we were the ones going with him here and there, even with the late Murphy Agbola Sahab. He was also in uniform, Hudam uniform. So
in
1988, yeah. when the fourth Khalifa came, I was the Talim Tarbiyah, Majlis Hudam al-Ahmadiyya, and the Naib Sada of the Majlis Hudam. Yes,
Nigeria.
Both Lagos State Coid and Naib Sada. I was the first Naib Sada, because it was the Umara that used to be Naib Sada.
And so then the fifth Khalifa, your relationship with him?
Yes, with all the Khalifa, I will always write, requesting for prayers. And my style is, anytime I write to Khalifa, I don't always wait for reply. I just believe whether my letter whether it reached him or not, once I've written and I've posted, I believe I have prayed. And it has always been working for me fantastically. That and that was why it was easy for me. When Uzur came in 2008, and I had to retrospect the visit of the Khulafa. I wrote everything from 1970 up to 2008. You know, in 2004, the only speech delivered by Ashrat Al-Hamis, I was the one that translated him. So it was a blessing. It was a grace of Allah upon me that I've been experiencing and enjoying blessings of Khilafah and the blessings of Allah Almighty. In fact, excessively, I can say, excessively. I cannot be grateful enough.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. If to round up, would you describe yourself as a fulfilled person in this career you have chosen? You could have been something else, doing something else, dedicating your life to something else, but you dedicated for God, serving of God and the humanity.
My only regret is that I started late.
MashaAllah.
That's the only regret. I never regretted even a minute. I never thought of any other thing that could be better than what I'm doing now. And my best day anytime is any day I'm able to accomplish anything for the Jamaat. My worst day is any day that I fail to do anything for the Jamaat.
MashaAllah.
And God has granted me this opportunity that I cannot remember how many days within the last 61 years. I cannot remember how many days I have missed my tajud. I cannot remember how many days. Even when I was on sick bed, I'll continue to start.
If you could round up with an advice.
Well, my first advice to the missionaries, I always tell the missionaries, a missionary should be a dictionary of what Islam is all about, or what Ahmadiyya is all about. And dedication should not, I always advise people, how are you doing this? I say, I'm doing it because Jamal can ask me to go tomorrow. I will never think like that. What will I do? Jamal will ask me to go. What will I do? Because I have told God I have no other place to go. I had two prayers that I've been offering for more than 50 years now. Number one, Allah should make me an indispensable tool for His work. Number two is the one I mentioned before, that anything that will benefit me more than the Jamaat, Allah should not grant it. So, to me, I have lived my life for God, and I've told God, just remove all my own personal thoughts, replace it with your own. What I will say is dedication. Dedication is all about living with God, living by God, living for God, and experiencing God.
MashaAllah. Dedication is all about living in God and for God and by God. That is the advice of our guest today. He said he is a miracle of the Jamaat personified, miracle personified. And these are evident in all the decades of his service in the Jamaat and for humanity. Jazakumullah khairan, Mavi for being part of the show today.
Barakallah, it's a pleasure.
MashaAllah. If you have comments or questions, you can always reach us at africa@mta.tv. Until next time, when we shall meet on the show, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا عباد الله هبوا ونداء الحق لبوا فاعبدوه مخلصين